Welcome, everybody, and it's Monday night, and it's time to start increasing your soul smarts. And tonight we're going to be talking about our unique formula called Minify. So, just as a reminder, make certain that you go in and put your um, email address in the chat so that you can get the shareables and the copy of the recording emailed out to you tomorrow morning. So let's get started and hear what's going on here. There we go. Looking for my arrow.
Hi y'all, my name is Ashley Brannon and I'm a brand specialist with Soul Naturals. Today I want to share one of my favorite products, which is Minify. It is a pre-meal fiber blend. So my favorite thing to do is to take 1 or 2 Minify pre-meal, which has instantly helped me with de-bloating. After I eat, I don't experience that uncomfortable bloating feel. And so my question to you is, got bloat? If so, I would encourage you to try Minify. It's also in the yellow category, which is clarifying. So we're clarifying our digestive tract. And for all of you who love to travel and try delicious foods around the world, Minify is a great product to pack in your bag and save you from bloating. So my question again, got bloat? If so, encourage you to try Minify. Thanks.
I love this testimony because it's so simple and it's such a simple um, phrase to be using to determine, is this a product that could be beneficial for you? Ashley is very careful on things that yet she still ends up sometimes with challenges with digestion and reactivity to her food, and the Minify makes a big difference for her. So, what exactly is this formula and what are its key benefits? So, we always have 5 key benefits that are tied with our products. This one is known to help have that good microbiome. Otherwise, we're having good prebiotic fibers, which is going to help supply that foundation for a good microbiome. Otherwise, so a healthy gut. Now, fiber. We have heard forever about the importance of fiber. And fiber is so important that it helps in more ways than people are aware. But fiber, regardless, the key thing that most people know is it helps to keep the bowels be normal and regular. But at the same time, we don't always have it as consistent as we should. So having this before the meals or when there's challenges allows us to have the fiber that wouldn't necessarily be in that richer food, or that food that maybe's got more sugar, or the some of the unhealthy fats, things like that. And fiber is very good at helping to pick that up. This formula is also designed to help with blood sugar. So blood sugar, in the fact that it's going to help because our body will respond, not always in healthy ways, to the ways, or it's always a way that we just don't always understand it. And when it responds to the foods that we eat, and the Nepal helps to bring that blood sugar in balance. You're going to learn about the ginger and fiber and how that helps with digestion, and all of this to help work towards weight management by having satiety, or having you actually feel full whenever you get done eating. So ginger root. Ginger root has long been one of my favorite items. In fact, I am known to just go in and pull out a piece of ginger and eat it after a meal, or just for fun, just because I love the taste of ginger. The hotter it is, the happier I am. But ginger has also been known to really support digestion. It helps the peristaltic system, so the motility, the transit time of the bowel to be nice and effective and reliable. But there's a couple keys in here also that you wouldn't expect to find in a product like we have here, and that is that this helps to actually neutralize toxins and acids. So things that maybe is creating that discomfort, the gingers actually be able to get in and help settle the stomach. And it is a natural blood purifier. Now, people are also familiar with ginger root because it's been long used for, maybe seasickness, or we see it with morning sickness, things like this, and just to settle the stomach. So when you actually think about it, you're not too surprised that we have ginger root in this, but ginger root is an amazing aspect and component of this. And so I wanted to bring in this testimony from our very own Tammy Peterson, because she talks about another aspect that this formula brings to the forefront for her in the relief it gives her. And she's talking about how she had big challenges with indigestion. And even though she was trying approaches such as enzymes, it just, even though it was helping a little bit, it wasn't doing the full job. And she was talking about being bloated, like we heard from Ashley earlier about being bloated and how the Minify helped. She reached for Minify. But she was also finding she was having a challenge with controlling cravings. So she created a strategy, and that strategy was to have Minify available to her everywhere that she went. I love how she had some next to the sofa, some next to the bed, in her purse, in her car, in the kitchen, anywhere that was convenient so she could grab it before her meals. And then she also points out that even if she forgot, she could take it during the meal or right after, and it absolutely got rid of the indigestion. It became such a game changer for her that it also, and all how it addressed her cravings, that it ended up impacting metabolism as well. But also her husband, that we all know and love, he was getting results as well. So now they make certain that they always, always, always have it with us. So you can see already just from the little bits and pieces of information we've learned about this formula, why it's a powerful thing to have available to you. Now, slippery element, and as you see here in this little 20-minute Soul Smart, we're not covering every aspect of the formula. Just coming at little bits and pieces are going to help you have a better understanding as to why this is important and why you might see this formula as being a friend for you. Well, there's two components of slippery elm, which is in this formula, that are really beneficial, and they definitely tie to the two testimonies that we've already heard. And that is that it has a ability to be mucilaginous, and that's a case where it makes it kind of that slippery feel to it, and it creates like a gel-like mass. So it soothes and protects irritated tissues in the body. In this case, it's going to address in the digestive tract. And then demulcent, this kind of looks a little similar, but basically it means herbs that have that mucilaginous property, but it specifically is coming in and protecting those internal tissues. So if we think about how uncomfortable people feel when they are having indigestion or they eat something that they shouldn't, or maybe it's actually has an irritant to their system, the slippery elm has an ability to absorb that, but it also protects, it puts a barrier there. Now, on the flip side, slippery elm is really nutritive, so lots of nutrition. So not only is it protecting you against those irritants in the food, it's also adding in nutrition that helps bring that to the table while it's challenging what's bothering your system. Well, let's see. Why are we not hearing Greg here? If I can start him over.
Hi, I'm Greg Halliday at Soul Naturals, and today I'd like to share a little bit with you about the product Minify. It's a very timely product. We're coming into the season of the year, lots of parties, and we do change somewhat our eating habits, sometimes a little more of foods that are very sugary and sweet, and maybe a little more of foods that are higher in fat. And Minify can be such a great solution with several therapeutic fibers that bind to those sugars and fats and keep the body from spiking up and down so quickly with changes in diet, and help mitigate the absorption so that over time we're much healthier. It's really easy to use Minify, a couple of capsules right before or with the food or right after our food. It's a great tool. But what I wanted to share today is something that you may not be aware of. Minify actually has an herb called amla. Amla is an adaptogen. Being an adaptogen now, it does many things for our physical health, but because it is an adaptogen, it is a tonic to our body's stress response. And that means that whether the stressor is emotional, whether it's physical, the body, when it can adapt more readily to the situation, does better in every way. We feel better emotionally. Our metabolism functions better. The creation of energy in our body and the absorption of nutrition, which is so important on a daily basis. Those are all helped by adaptogens. So Minify, what a great solution to minify the sugars and fats that might come at this party time of year. But also, don't forget that it has an adaptogen that is a wonderful tonic anytime.
And now we have Greg with us. And with Greg, if you can unmute yourself and bring you on to ask you a question.
I'm here, Valerie. Good to see
There
you.
you are. So thank you so much for the little bit that you shared about our formula. And and actually, I guess I have two questions. And one would be following off of what you talked about the amla. It's pretty unusual to have an adaptogen in a formula like this. So I love that at this time of year when it tends to be stressful and people do not necessarily eat properly, that you even thought of sticking an adaptogen and thought it would have benefit in a formula like this. Is there anything additional you'd like to add to that?
Well, I think mostly when we tried to think of times when you wouldn't need an adaptogen in a formula, we couldn't think of any. So that's why it's in there because stress response, there's such an immediate influence on all the key processes that as you well know, Valerie, digestion and mood are two of them that are so quick to change based upon our bodies, that the equity we have, that bank account for stress management strength, put it that way. So it does tons of other good things. I mean, eye health, we could go down a big list, but its main reason is being that tonic. And anytime we can get nutrition in our body, if we can give a little bit of a tonic there for our mood and stress management, we're better off in every way. So honestly, that's where we landed.
I love that, and I agree with you. I have yet to figure out any situation where we do not benefit from an adaptogen. In Nepal, I'd like you to touch on a little bit why you thought it would be important to bring in a plant that is recognized for blood sugar management when we're looking at satiety and helping to mitigate some of the poor choices we might make.
Well, I think because when you look at poor choices, yeah, processed, lots and lots of carbs and too many processed saturated fats, they're a big issue. They affect our mood and our health in every way, especially heart health. But sugar is right there with them. And I think, I hope I pronounce her name right. I was forever changed when someone shared with me the research by, I think it's Maria Fernandez. So I'm quoting studies by different doctors, and sometimes I get mixed up. But I'm pretty sure it's Maria Fernandez who is an MD who did studies on the nutritional components in nopal. And what she found is that certain nutrients are known to lower sugar levels in blood that are found in nopal, and other nutrients in the same plant raise them, which is to me a red flag. Well, let's call it a green flag because it's positive evidence of an adaptogen because it provides nutrition on either side of imbalance, whether our sugars are running low and we're hypoglycemic and dragging, or whether they're too high. And so nopal is a wonderful, wonderful staple in diet that could be, I mean, I think certainly in Mexico in certain places, but could be and should be for all of us. It's high in fiber, but it also has these components that help our body manage sugar levels. And I think when sugar levels spike and move a lot up or down, mood just follows, not to mention everything else. So that's why we put nopal. It fit right in with these other wonderful fibers in minifying negative effects of some of the foods we eat.
I love that. So it's not only are we working on an absorption of some of the challenges of the food, but we're also helping to mitigate, like you said, the blood sugar spikes are coming in, which also helps us be more satisfied with what we're eating and helps to keep our body from taking the hit from poor choices. Thank you so much, Greg, and taking your time to join us and answer a few questions, my
Pleasure.
friend.
My pleasure.
All right, let's see here. All right. There we go. So chickweed is another plant and herb that we have in this formula. Chickweed, I have been friends with for years. It grows all over out here. We can see it. I mean, literally, you just got to step out the door and it shows up all over the place. And the points that are brought in about it, I felt are specifically going to benefit and help us understand this formula. Chickweed's forever, as far as I know, historically been referenced as an old wives' remedy for obesity. And why? Why would this be? Well, when you get in and look at it, its ability to impact fats, break them down. And we got to remember, fats also not only in the food, but there was also used to challenge what was in the system already in fatty deposits. So it has that ability no matter whether it's something that we're bringing in and we're eating or if it's already in our system. But it also helps to soothe that inflammation in the digestive tract. You're noticing a theme here that there is often inflammation in the digestive tract, often caused by either poor food choices, poor food quality, or actually by stress. So we've come in with our adaptogens and help challenge the stress aspect, but we also need to come in with other plants to help soothe that inflammation. And this herb is also very good at helping thin mucus. And I just know that my father always had challenges with that, and his eustachian tube would get really full, and you think about that when you get ill, and that mucus gets thick, and it would make him very dizzy. And chickweed was always what would dissolve that and make it so he can function. So I brought that in because that kind of gives you a visual in your head, maybe, as to what this plant is able to do in our food choices. And again, we know that nobody eats perfect all the time. We also know that as a culture, we tend to overeat. So the way we've designed this formula is to help support the food choices that are made, both by helping to protect. And, this isn't something to fall back in so that you can eat cruddy all the time. It's just something to help support, but also nutritively support as well. So this is one of the other um, things that you will get emailed to you, along with Greg's video that he recorded. We will be sending you this screenshot of basic nutritional profile highlights from this formula. So again, if you have not put your email in the chat, please make certain that you do that, because I will be saving those after and getting that emailed out tomorrow. Now, this is not an all-inclusive list. That would be impossible to do and cover in such a short period of time. But what I want to do is highlight some of the things that maybe you didn't know about plants that are in this formula and added benefits. And other times we're seeing benefits that we can't relate, and we don't know why this formula is maybe helping us with this. Well, Greg talked about the amla and its adaptogenic qualities, but it's also extremely high in vitamin C. And we know that vitamin C is very important for the immune system, all for the circulatory system. I mean, lymphatics, you kind of name it. There's a lot there. You're always going to see different minerals that are high in the plants, and in that we use calcium is often there, potassium is often there. And so when we have them in this format, they're so much more bioavailable and easy to use. No, I'm not going to be able to look at this calcium and know exactly how much I'm getting in it, but I do know that it's user friendly, and that makes my body happy. Nepal, 17 amino acids, vitamin A, vitamin C, antioxidants. It is outstanding. This is what Greg was talking about. That's so good at helping to support blood sugar and help keep it within a ideal healthy range. We have psyllium seed. And I did list fiber specifically on that, even though we have multiple other plants in this formula that are high in fiber. The fiber is what is part of the grabbing capabilities that this has. But who would have thought that psyllium seeds got zinc and selenium? Selenium is really important for the brain too. So not only are we designing this with just pulling out an isolated element that maybe delivers the part that absorbs, the components we don't want in our food. We're making certain by having this whole plant approach that you're getting the full benefits, the full grocery cart experience in your shopping spree with these plants. Chickweed is another one. That people are blown away, especially here where I grew up in the Ozarks and in the Midwest, how this little weed, as they call it, is so loaded with different things. So as we look at this list, one of the things that jumps out to me is cobalt. Cobalt is really important for our B12 production. So we've got this coming into the whole digestive tract. You can see the value in having it there. Ginger, we talked about, it's also high in cobalt when you come in looking at plants. And then we looked at slippery elm. Niacin. A lot of us are really familiar with niacin when it comes to the circulatory tract. So, can you imagine this whole benefit here? You're getting so much more than just a supplement that helps your satiety and helps prevent challenges from your food choices, but it's also bringing in benefits no matter if you're having good food choices because you're getting the fiber and you're getting this added nutritional density. Now, kind of following on with the way that people look at Minify a lot, I kind of got a kick out of this. Of course, Charles Schulz is the person who created Snoopy, and I thought, all you need is love, he says, but a little chocolate now and then doesn't hurt. And you know what? Especially if you've got Minify.